Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Ray. Welcome to post 7 in this series of exploring your potential and exploring your natural gifts as consciousness, as an expression, a unique expression of consciousness, and your connection and your ability to work with energy and to alchemize. And it's alchemy I'm going to talk about today, and the connection between alchemy and truth. The two are intimately connected, as is everything, as we know. It's quite an abstract thing, alchemy, and to talk about it is quite, it's difficult to grasp and to explain, because alchemy is experienced in presence, and alchemy is something that you experience uniquely. So it's interesting. How do we talk about alchemy? It's very intangible, and it is energy after all. We're talking about the transformation of one energetic state into another energetic state. And this is why I really love working with people one-to-one, because it's in that connection. And as I listen to somebody and the challenges or the experiences that they're having in life, in their body, in their emotional, and in every aspect of their life, that is where I can intuitively read the information in the energy and start connecting the dots. And as I'm talking through this experience of how I am receiving that information energetically, and I'm reflecting back what I am reading, there is also the potential for alchemy, a shift, as the other person receives this reflection. Okay, because there is that experience in the present moment. And either it's the connection between something that we're experiencing very physically in the body, perhaps it's pain, and there is the connection to an emotional pain that hasn't yet been acknowledged, felt, expressed. And as that comes into awareness, there is the shift, there is the alchemy between that denser expression of consciousness in the body, which is physical pain, and as it comes into awareness as an emotional pain, and sometimes there are tears, or sometimes there is a very real expression of that pain, but sometimes it's just the awareness that creates that shift energetically, and there is that transformation of one energetic state and frequency into another. And the same way, a transformation can happen around a belief that is attached perhaps to that very experience of physical pain, emotional pain. And as we hold that belief up, and that's what we're doing as we connect in the body and we're observing these sensations. In the same way, with a belief, we can hold that belief up and look at it without judgment, observe it, engage with it, and integrate it in a way that we can discern, is that truth? And there you have the connection between alchemy and truth, because what you're learning to do is to engage with your experience, whether it's physical in the body, whether it's emotional, whether it's around a belief, any aspect of your experience, and you're holding it up to observe it with curiosity, to engage with it. And there you have the potential for that to transform into another state. Okay? And each time you're getting closer and closer, or I should say, each time you're returning to the truth of who you are, as you dissolve a belief that's been holding you in a certain limitation. And energetically, what I feel when this happens, it's a little bit like you have the state of water, the element of water, and as it heats up, it transforms into steam. There's a lightness to it. There's a a dispersion, an expansion. There's a lightness, okay? And so whatever you've been holding as a denser frequency in the body, like denser frequency of water, as you engage with it, there's this lightening, okay? A lightening of the frequency, a transformation that happens. And then there's more space for the truth of who you are. Okay, so each time we work with alchemy and we're transforming states from a denser frequency into something that is more energetically lighter. Yes, difficult to explain alchemy, but I see that a lot of you are already working in that way, while some of you are exploring that potential. And how are you getting on with your potential as you work through this day by day, as you connect and you observe? Okay, what are you finding? What is coming into awareness in your day to day? The synchronicities, the signs, perhaps the aha moments. Okay, it's all connected. And why I like working in the body so much in terms of energy is because it makes the intangible tangible. Okay, energetically what we can connect with are different frequencies and how they feel in the body, because there is a physical expression of these energies and how we can feel them in different ways, whether they're emotions or the feelings that are generated through our thought processes. And the more we connect and we embody, we're in our physical experience, we can see the connection between things and we can start to join the dots. And this is also where the alchemy happens. And what comes to mind are these games that you can play on your phone, where you're placing squares and trying to solve the puzzle. And when you solve it, there's this little burst of colour, an explosion of light, and everything kind of dissolves and all the bits and pieces fall into place. And that's what we're doing energetically when we're working with our experience, our embodied experience, and bringing all those elements together of our experience, the mental, the beliefs, the thoughts, the emotional, and how these are held in the body, felt in the body, and how we can express them. And then there's truth. And there are absolute truths in terms of our human experience. For example, love is healing. But then there's your personal truth. And that's why I always say, only you can know what is true for you. Yeah, and it's feeling that, it's discerning that, and understanding, and this is how we are breaking out of our limitation, our conditioning. It's understanding how everything that we've carried as truth and that has shaped our experience in our lives and what we feel about our lives and about ourselves, and what we believe to be true. As we work in this way and we're exploring different aspects of our energetic experience in our emotions and everything that we're discovering in the body, we can start to ask ourselves a simple question: is this true for me? We're holding that belief in our awareness and observing. Look at what it's created in my experience, emotionally, physically, and then, physically in the body, but then physically out into the day-to-day, our 3D experience. And how much has that limited the expression of who I am? And as we hold anything in that way with curiosity, and we start to take a little bit of distance, and so we can turn it around and get a different perspective, we can release ourselves from those limitations. That's the awareness that comes in, and we can position ourselves differently and start to see ourselves in a different life, in a different light, in our truth. And the more that we start to stand in that truth, own the truth, and in that way we're also looking at things that are holding us in a fear pattern, again in another limitation, we start to align with it in a way that is liberating. And that is in the way that we show up day to day in our authenticity, owning our truth, expressing our truth. And what we're doing is we're alchemizing, we're shifting, we're transforming any experience of limitation that has held us in a limited experience and expression of who we are. We're alchemizing the dark into light, so the shadow of anything that's holding us in a fear pattern or a limited belief about who we are or who we should be. And it's transforming that density into a lighter energetic experience that is bringing us back to the truth of who we are. We're transforming density in terms of what we're holding in the body and what's being expressed by the body, perhaps as symptoms, as discomfort, as tension, and transforming that through understanding the emotional frequency that's created that in the body, and by acknowledging it and expressing it and owning it and recognizing that aspect of who you are, again simply by expressing a truth such as I feel, I need, I am, and understanding that truth as an expression of who you are, that is also alchemy. And all of that is very subtle, these shifts in our beliefs and how that impacts us at the cellular level, energetically freeing us to show up in our truth. Because it's not just a question of, well, yesterday I had this belief and today I'm going to change it and I'm going to believe this. There's a process that happens in between those two belief states, okay? And the shift is what happens within, okay? And it's there in the body. That's the tangible in this intangible, quite abstract, yes, art of alchemy. So I thought I'd share that with you today. So whatever intention you've set for these 30 days, this 30-day exploration, you're holding it up, observing it, carrying it with you, starting to embody it. What does it feel like? Where's the resistance? What am I being shown? And there is the potential for alchemy, a transformation of some form of limitation, of density, into a lighter expression, a truer expression of who you are. Okay. So I'm going to let you explore that one on your own, and it's coming into the body. It's being curious, and it's engaging with what comes up, what is, rather than digging or trying to fix. It's an allowing, and it's trusting the process. As you hold that intention, that potential that you're exploring, trust that whatever you need is going to come up for you, life is going to present that to you in some way. So it's just being present, observing, being curious, and engaging with whatever it is that you're experiencing moment to moment. Okay. So as always, do share your comments, like, share, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next post.